This video is a cut portion from a much larger video about the tastiest things to save in Autobuild. The instructions to build this one thing were so long, it would have ruined the pacing of that long, tasty video. So, here you go. Speaking of my one fan wonder, however, this darn hoverbike is too good that it outclasses it in everything except battery power. I gotta rework it. I have reworked it. How the turns have tabled. The one fan wonder now outclasses the hoverbike. Debatably. It's slightly slower and not good at ascending. But shut up, I think it's the better vehicle. And I'm not just coping because I spent a really unhealthy amount of time developing and testing it. Though the hero's path data is good evidence for me to be institutionalized. I've once said that the hoverbike flies like a dream, but the one fan wonder flies like a dreamier dream. Notice its near perfect balance, and the zero turn radius. Perfect level of control. Having both in one vehicle is incredibly rare. And that efficiency, 2/3 the amount of the energy compared to the hoverbike, while maintaining close to the same speed. Greater distance traveled per energy cell. And that's not even mentioning its ability to back up, spin hover, tail whip. Abilities the hoverbike lacks. And if the speed is that important to you, boom. Introducing the two fan wonder. This big butt beauty gives you the best of both worlds. Except that energy part. And the turn radius. And all the abilities that came from that. But anyway, that's the other thing I really like about the one fan wonder. It ended up being a fantastic base for customization. The process to create it is lengthy and very specific. Let me set the right expectations. Some of you are gonna be like, what the hell? This is not worth it. That reminds me. Oh, poor baby, your switch to Autobuild QR code is in the description. Don't worry, you don't gotta work hard. It's okay, you can just join my viewer retention rate. Anyway, gamers, it's time to build. After I give you this information you were expected to know going into this section. At 4 times speed. In this class lesson, you learn about nudging and how Autobuild works. All objects that you attach together have a resting position relative to the thing you attach it to. The resting position is wherever the object was when you successfully attach it. Any force that pushes the object out of its resting position will create tension, and eventually break the attachment if it's pushed far enough. What's interesting is that anytime you add something to your build, and then rebuild it with Autobuild's history, every object's resting position will be updated to where everything was when you attached that last part. And there's no limit to how many times you can do this. This is what we'll be exploiting. You can pull the build apart inch by inch by using 2 stakes. This is called stake nudging. You can change the angle of parts on the build by staking it into the ground, attaching some form of larger part you want to change the angle of, and pressing it down with something heavy. This is called angle nudging. These will be important for later. I'll need you to be as precise as I am, so I also need to teach you about perfect backflips. Normally just doing a backflip, you're likely to end up walking backwards a couple of frames before backflipping. To prevent this, pull out your weapon and backflip during the start of animation of charging for an attack, like this. Since you cannot move during the initial start of the charge attack, you do the same exact backflip distance every time. The same is true for front hops and side hops by the You can change the backflip 1 time now. You're all caught up, now I'm going to teach you how to build it. This is everything you'll need. Go get anything that you're missing. Equip your weapon and shield, turn off aim with motion controls, and avoid using the analog sticks at all when we're about to attach something with Ultra Hand. Well, most of the things. I'll put up an indicator when it's relevant. Go to the right leg depot, in the depths where you put Minoru together. There's an elevator here that we want to break and use for scraps. Once you're here, first thing you're going to want to do is save your game, and then restart your software. Trust me on this.
The powers of chaos grow stronger every minute the game session remains open.
And by that I mean the longer the game is open, things start twitching more and more when you're attaching something to them with Ultra Hand, which sucks for our need of precision. But anyway, now we can get started. Pull out a stabilizer, put its butt on the railing, have it face diagonally up or down, attach it, turn it on, and it should snap right off. This object is special because it's set to 10% gravity. This is what will be giving us all of our stability. Bring it over to this takeoff area. Now follow these steps perfectly. Zero out the elevator railing with Ultra Hand. And by that, I simply mean push it flat onto the ground, pull it all the way in with D-pad down, and let the camera settle. The camera takes like 12 seconds to settle completely. Doing this should make all of us start from the same exact baseline. We're going to be using perfect backflips, perfect front hops, and parries to move the same exact distances as each other. Perfect backflip 2 times, perfect front hop, parry 5 times, then take out a fan. Perfect backflip, parry 3 times, then take out a steering stick. Recall the fan back to its spawn point. Ultra Hand the fan, rotate it up twice, to the side once, up again, and then attach. Recall the steering stick back to its spawn point. Ultra Hand the steering stick, rotate it down 4 times, tap D-pad up once to inch it forward, and then attach. We have our foundation! If you were impatient and don't care about perfection, you could just stop here. As is, it's a good vehicle, but it doesn't fly perfectly level and straight like this. Look at this. You want this. So join me in angle nudging the steering stick next. Zero out the elevator railing again, with the fan and steering stick upside down and away from you. Perfect backflip 3 times and take out a stake. Rotate the stake down 11 times. This is to gain height without having to use the right stick. Push it forward and attach to the center of the fan. Ultra Hand the stake. Rotate the vehicle to be facing you. Put the stake in the ground, but not all the way, and pull it towards you. Perfect backflip twice. Take out a cart. Push it forward and attach it to the bottom of the steering stick. Perfect backflip. Take out 2 homing carts. Rotate the top one up twice and attach. Ultra Hand the bottom homing cart, push it forward and attach it to the cart. Preparations for angle nudging complete. It's nudging time. Ultra Hand one of the homing carts, rotate it up once, and stake the build into the ground without the elevator railing touching the ground. You could have it just slightly above the ground or hanging over the ledge like this. Then, let go. Look closely at the homing carts and wait for them to settle completely. Attach a material to the stake and rebuild it from Autobuilds history for the new resting position. Then, detach the carts.
You can get rid of them, we don't need them anymore.
We're gonna angle nudge the elevator railing now, but with a different method. The others caused too much variation. Zero out the elevator railing again, but this time let's face ourselves this way. One of the steps might not work if you do this with it too close to the ledge. Perfect backflip 2 times, take out 2 springs, and attach them together. Perfect backflip 2 times again. Take out a stake. Rotate it left 4 times. Push it forward and attach. Now, without moving, Ultra Hand the elevator railing through the springs. Rotate the elevator railing up twice and hold it there for at least 5 seconds. Rotate it down twice, and then slowly pull it towards you until you can attach it to the edge of the spring's launch platform. Cool. We have made this doohickey. Now for the weird spring-based angle nudging. Step 1. Hit it! Ultra hand the top spring, bring the whole device to underneath this ledge, rotate the vehicle to be upside down, stick the fan stake into the ceiling, but not all the way or else you'll compress the springs, and put the spring stake into the wall. Then let go.
Hit it!
So that the springs compress and pull the elevator railing into a new angle. Then attach a material to the ceiling stake. Auto-build it for the new resting position. And now we are going to repeat these steps one more time.
Hit it!
Ultra hand the top spring, bring the whole device underneath this ledge, rotate the vehicle to be upside down, stick the fan stake into the ceiling and the spring stake into the wall, then let go. Hit it again, so that the springs compress. Then attach a material to the ceiling stake. Then auto-build it for its new resting position. Detach the springs and stakes. Now, the final step is to place our dragon horn on the back as a counterbalance. But I can't offer you concrete steps to follow for this. The location of where to put it will vary slightly for you, because attachments with Ultra Hand seem to be straight up random on a minuscule level. Let me remind you that the goal for our One Fan Wonder is for it to fly close to perfectly straight and close to perfectly level. And this is what we'll try to achieve with the dragon horn's weight. But if I simply place my dragon horn in a standardized spot in the center, in this instance it ends up wobbling a lot, flying slightly downward, and having a hard bias towards the right. My point for perfect counterbalance was over here for this One Fan Wonder, while yours could be here, or it could be over here. We don't know. Wherever it is, we can at least get closer and closer to it with some trial and error. We're going to be repositioning our dragon horn in 3D space, and each of the 3 axes affects some specific aspect of your flight. The Z-axis is your general balance. If it's too high up compared to your point of counterbalance, it's going to wobble a lot. If it's too low compared to it, it's going to veer off course far more easily. Maybe even spiral out of control if it's bad enough. The Y-axis is your vertical balance. If the dragon horn is further away from the fan than the point of counterbalance, your flight will have an upwards bias. And of course, placing the dragon horn closer to the fan than the point of counterbalance, it'll do the opposite. It'll have a downwards bias. And the X-axis is your horizontal balance. Too much to the left, it'll fly with a bias towards the right. And too much to the right, it'll fly with a bias towards the left. Keep in mind if you're adjusting this while the vehicle is upside down, right and left will be reversed for you. So, let's try an average spot and figure out how to adjust it from there. Zero out your elevator railing with the vehicle upside down. Perfect backflip and parry 7 times. Pull out your Porapad scope, aim at the center of the fan, and quit out of the scope. Drop your dragon horn and recall it back to its exact spawn point. Ultra hand it, rotate it left 2 times, down 4 times, and attach. The down 4 times is really just because it tends to make the glue look better. Go ahead and save it in auto build, and we can replace it anytime we manage to improve the balance. Let's diagnose it. Put your one-fan wonder at the ledge for takeoff. Set your HUD mode to normal if it's not already, so that we can look at our height coordinate changing to determine any y-axis imbalance. Get on it, and center link in relation to the elevator railing with the camera, so that any tiny x-axis imbalance is more obvious. Although it's quite obvious in this instance, mine has a hard right bias. Look at this shit. Taking a look at our height coordinate on the minimap, it shows that we're slowly going downward. And for my general balance, I am very gently wobbling, which is good actually. I shouldn't need to adjust that. After your diagnosis, head back to the takeoff platform.
Take your dragon horn off.
We're going to repeat those counterbalance steps again, but we're going to make some informed adjustments. And my informed adjustments are going to be different than yours, so these aren't steps to follow, this is guidance. I'm going to zero out my elevator railing with the vehicle upside down again, because I don't want to change the general balance, it was fine for me. I'm going to perfect backflip and parry 6 times instead of 7, because I want to be a bit further away from the fan than last time. I'm going to aim slightly left of the fan center, and because it's upside down, that means the fan's left is my right. I aimed at the edge of the symbol right here, and I'm gonna remember that. I drop my dragon horn, recall it, ultra hand it, rotate it left 2 times, down 4 times, and attach. And now I go diagnosing again. And probably you didn't get it perfect first try. This is noticeably better. It still has a bias towards the right, so I'll aim a little more to the left of the fan. It has an upwards bias, which is better than downward, but I think I can get it to be a little bit more level than this. And this time, the wobbliness is actually a bit too much, which is strange because I didn't try to change that. I think that means the axis of balance is more like this, where you can't move the dragon horn up and down the elevator railing without changing both the Z and Y axis. Or I'm in a deep psychosis and I've been making all of this up from patterns that aren't real. Either way, this is an improvement, so I'm gonna overwrite the last one saved in Autobuild. And you can keep redoing these steps until your perfectionism is satiated. For this one fan wonder, here's the counterbalance steps I ended with. Bottom side of the elevator railing, 3 perfect backflips, 2 perfect front hops, 4 parries. Then I aim at the left edge of the rightmost symbol. Except then I aim more downward because the scope doesn't allow smoothly aiming minuscule amounts to the left or right, but aiming up and down does move it gently to the left or right, but it's okay because you can use the O in scope or the space between yellow and green pins as a separate crosshair.
My sanity was a small price to pay.
Rotate left 2 times, down 3 times, and attach. Unfortunately, it's gonna make my glue look ugly, but I needed it to be moved down the Z-axis a little bit to fix the wobbliness. That should be enough information for you fellow perfectionists. Thanks for sticking with me for so long. In the video that this was initially a part of, the other builds aren't as crazy involved as this. Except maybe the gun. Anyway, all the Switch 2 players are surely gone. And because of that, let me show you one more thing. Most of you are probably going to end up with an upside-down one-fan wonder in your auto build, since there's a good chance the final attachment required it to be. Head to the water temple. Select your one-fan wonder in auto build, rotate it to be upright, facing forward, and then build it. Recall it, and without moving, attach a water globule to it. Water globules cost 0 zonite to be made since they disappear instantly, so for no extra cost, you can overwrite the one that you have saved with this, so that it's oriented correctly from the moment you can press A to build it. I didn't do this for the Switch 2 auto build sharing QR code. They will be mildly inconvenienced, as they are forced to rotate it upright every time they want to start flying.
Fools! I can show you the world. Forfeit your will to me.
But that costs more zonite, and I want it to be cheap!
You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
Step 2, cold yeet it. Huh?
Introducing the 3-fan wonder with gun. Bouncy boys. We're so back.
1 billion damage. To achieve a floating house, we need to lift up the house from its center of gravity with a device that is outside the building area, with the rest of your desired house hanging below.
It's just not safe.
Put a wing on his head to make him stop.